Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Fuel community. My name is Wack. Today is August 23rd, and today's episode is a jam-packed episode once again. It's got some really exciting things. So we're going to be talking about the RPL price and having an overnight pump. We're going to talk about 1KX doing some movement and their validators, essentially throwing people in the community into a bit of a panic. We're also going to be talking about Guardians of the Ether. That's something exciting that's come up. And we're going to be talking about Sony and some exciting plans they have. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So we're going to get started with talk of price action. Now, I don't talk about price action very much on this show. Overnight, we had some price movements. Now, what happened is the price moved, but nobody really knew that it was moving because we don't get the bot anymore from Uniswap. Now with Uniswap, we'd have the sell bot, so anytime there was any buy or sell of over $25,000, we'd get a notification in the Discord. But the RPL liquidity has moved, right? It's gone mostly to centralized exchanges. It's using Binance now. It's also people are buying and selling through CarSwap. So there's not much liquidity on Uniswap now for those big buys without experiencing a lot of slippage. So the first time we actually saw it in the Discord was here at 3 a.m. when Monty checked the ratio and the price, it was up a good 10% here. It was at around $11.90 or $12 overnight, and then it shot up 10% to $13.30. So that was a big price movement that happened. And then in the little bit of time after that, the price kept moving quite strongly. So much so that, it went up to 0052 and then 0056 just a few minutes later. So the price was moving really fast, and it actually spiked up to $16 on Binance, which we're actually going to go and have a look at now. So with Binance here, you can see this is what the chart looks like. So like overnight, it was around $12, like I said, and then it shot up to $15.50, and then it kind of retraced a little bit back down to around $13.50, $13.80, and then it had another peak up to $16, which you can see on the chart on the screen on Binance. After that, it's kind of retraced a little bit, but it's still a good 14% higher than it was this time yesterday, and it's at around $13.50. So the price moved quite nicely, and my theory is still that someone is trying to do a short squeeze on the RPL token because there's a lot of short interest in the token right now, and you can see that through the borrowing rates and Aave, and just this general idea basically that there is some short interest in RPL. And I think whenever we get these spikes up, it's someone trying to push a short squeeze to happen, which they did successfully 2 months ago with the price going up 100% in one day. Now, is that what they're trying to do here? Maybe, I don't know for sure, but I feel like that's kind of what is being pushed to happen here. It's just it hasn't been successful yet. We know for sure that there's a $500,000 short that's open through Aave, and we know that there's a whole bunch of other shorts that are open as well. But this is definitely something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be shorting RPL. Well, I don't know. For some people, it's proven quite lucrative, I'm sure, because the price action, has been trending downwards for the past year. But the fact is that, as the market gets closer to finding a bottom, whenever that might be soon, it gets much more riskier to try to short the token, and people are going to get burned. And there was a taste of that burning happening a couple of months ago when the price went up to $36, like right here, which was on June 13th. But that was over 2 months ago now. But there was also this pump that happened a month later, on August 16th, and now it's July 16th, and now it's happening on August 23rd. It seems like around once a month or so, or once every 5 weeks or so, someone tries to push the price up, seeing what happens, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out the next few days. But I wouldn't short here. So that's those people are taking their own risk. Now, just as people were starting to wake up and seeing that there was positive sentiment, the people waking up in the US, Europeans had already woken up and saw there was positive sentiment because of the price. Well, that shifted quite quickly because people saw that 1KX were leaving their validators, and this is they were exiting a whole lot of validators. So people kind of were panicked, and they were wondering what's going on here. Here, Pateris saw it a little while later, and he said, "Are 1KX exiting all their mini pools?" Kevin said, "That's a lot of mini pools." Blue EVM was like sweating emoji, saying "cool," and this was people like just not sure what was happening. There was a lot of speculation going on about what 1KX is trying to do here, saying that it looks like they're exiting mini pools and that the deposit pool is going to get full again, and this is going to be really bad. As the day went on and we got a better idea of what was going on, it looked like what they were doing is that they were under collateral on their RPL, so their collateral point had reached 8.6%. So it looks like they were exiting some of their validators to get their collateral level back above 10%. Now, Lululo here ran the simulation of the changes before and after on their node, and before they were getting 0 rewards in RPL, and after shutting down some of their validators, they were going to get 2,500 RPL rewards. So that is a pretty big difference. That they're trying to get their nodes back to the point where their RPL was collateralized again. Lulu explained that they were going to end up around 12% collateral level. So as long as the ratio doesn't go down too much again, hopefully they'll end up in a strong position where they can get their RPL rewards. But there was a lot of fear in the community that 1KX were against the Saturn tokenomics, as suggested by Val and Samus and others, and they argued quite robustly about it, came up with their own tokenomics plan, and the community was kind of worried that they were going to exit the validators in response to that, and in fear of that, and sell the RPL. Well, at the moment, it doesn't look like that's what's happening. It just looks like they've trimmed their validators from their 2 nodes, and they are just trying to get back of collateral advantage on RPL. So that's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. Okay, moving here to the forum, and we'll see that the Long Island blockchain put out this post called the Post-Mortem on Rocket Split Grant. So for those of you who don't know, last year the community voted on approving a grant for Rocket Split. This was after a whole lot of back and forth and some disappointments from Ramana and others. And yeah, this was a grant that was denied twice by the GMC, and this was still when the GMC took 3 months to make their decisions, and the community wasn't happy about it. So Noshua wrote an RPIP to override the decision of the GMC, and that was overridden, and the grant was approved by the PDAO. So for those of you who don't know, Rocket Split was a custom withdrawal contract. So you would set your withdrawal address on your node with a splitter contract that had, it wasn't just like your split of ETH goes to one address, RPL goes to another address. It was such that you could customize it and make changes, and you could send a percentage of the ETH one place, percentage of the RPL another place. You could have a lot more flexibility over what you wanted to do. Well, the version 1 of it was deployed in December 2023 to Rocket Split XYZ, and then version 2 was deployed on July 2024, and team members included Ramana, Nick, and Craig. And the objectives of it, we had that the people would use this to get married, basically, and it would be an ETH contributor and an RBL contributor, and they'd get married and manage their validators through this on their withdrawal side. And then the final outcomes here is that Rocket Split doesn't have an audit, but remains available for use in production now. Rocket Pool released Houston upgrade, and that lets you set separate withdrawal addresses. So even though the RPL and ETH have separate withdrawal addresses, Rocket Split still allows you to have those custom features where you can change how it all works. that you don't get with Houston. And then here they say that the version 1 deployed in December 2023, Rocket Split was used on main Ethereum, well, on the validator that has since exited. And then version 2 was available for use, and there are interested parties, but no new Rocket Splits have been created yet. And then we have the success section says that the contracts were deployed, and in terms of actual people using it, there haven't been that many people using it, but the successes, they're counting it as, being live online, and then there's being Rocket Split launched in March, that validator visited in June, the smart contract upgraded was in July, and the Wave 2 production Rocket Splits happened in July 2024. With the milestones met, they had the smart contract configuration website launch, deployed Rocket Split smart contract tree, and also had Rocket Split was used in production. Now, they also had a section here talking about their challenges and issues. With the major challenges was funding and lack of work done with GMC, and basically not the GMC not helping that much. They had testing issues where not enough testing was done. On Haleshki, too many volunteers came along, and then there was the technical landscape as well, with changes to Rocket Pool through Houston, and that fundamentally changed how Rocket's designed. So there's some lessons learned here, technical lessons from Nick and from Ramana, and then there's other community lessons as well, and especially the section about the GMC and the grants being denied, and the impact of that and how that changed things, and then their team dynamics as well, where there's some information, and then so they're saying that this product is out there to use, and you can use it if you want. So I'm just thought that you all know this is what Ramana is saying. Sorry, not Ramana, Long Island Blockchain is saying it's the state of Rocket Split right now. Okay, next we have this. We've got the bi-weekly / fortnightly, whatever you want to call it, rETH DeFi integration document that's been updated by regex Buster here on stakerocketpool.eth, and they're saying that once again the Pancake Swap pool is the one that you can get the best rewards on. You can get 20.36% APR on providing liquidity. So this is really amazing rewards. You can have a look and see what else is out there. So here we've got on layer 2s, Balancer is giving 12%. These are the ones that stand out. And Balancer on Gnosis is giving up to 17%. So there's some really nice rewards there. And on mainnet, you can get between 5% on Balancer, but of course there's also 20% on Pancake Swap. So definitely go and check that out if you want to provide liquidity. There's some really good liquidity stuff there. And then here there's a Balancer rETH RPL pool, and that is giving 5.1% APR as well. So if you're interested in checking these out, there's the rpldefi.com website, which gives you details of all the different chains and all the different pools that are out there that are being incentivized by the IMC and others, and the kind of rewards that you can get from those. So definitely pay attention to that to do, use your rETH that way. Okay, moving on to some staking news here, and this is some staking news we've got coming out of Guardians of the Ether. So here Leo says, Ethereum stakers, we have a gift for you as a thank you for keeping Ethereum decentralized. I'm stoked to announce the official launch of Guardians of the Ether, a project to reward and incentivize stakers. So here there's a quick disclaimer saying this is not monetary reward, nor is anyone involved with this project financially benefiting from it. This is a passion project because it's super important that we do everything we can to help keep Ethereum decentralized. So here it says, Guardians of the Ether are non-transferable NFTs issued by ETH stakers. Beyond the unique art that accompanies each NFT, they can be used to grant access to events, establish eligibility airdrops, denote membership in, and even grant governance within the ETH staker community. So that's pretty cool. And then the art was created by Exofi. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. And saying there's an eye in the center, and it symbolizes that the staker watches the network. And then staking for longer allows you to evolve your guardian to high levels. This reflected the number of nodes in the network. So the first year stakers received a guardian with 3 nodes, forming a triangle. Second year stakers get 4 nodes connected to different diamond. Third year, so on. So as the years go on, you get more nodes connected on your guardian. And then how many nodes are actually connected to one another is a luck of the draw when you mint. The nodes are connected by solid lines. Dashes represent potential connections. And if you have all solid lines on your guardian, then that's rarity that goes higher. But yeah, so this is a nice little project that's come up with ETHStaker. They've got their own website now as well. Let me see if I have that link available. I thought I had it open. Yeah, it's etherguardians.xyz. And I was able to mint my NFT earlier, but they show you the different kind of artworks available and how it all works. So if you want to claim your NFT, for Rocket Pool, it says here that you can use your withdrawal address, and if you are a solo staker, then you use your deposit address to claim these on. So that's really cool. And here they've got a list of all the different addresses, and if they're the addresses that are available. So if your address is on there, then you can go and do that as well. Pretty cool. Okay, next we're gonna go back to the Discord, and we've got some information here about people in the Discord talking about the guardians of the ether, and I think a bunch of rocket poolers are interested in buying this. So like I said, I minted my NFT already. I don't know if others have or not, but you can go and do that if you want. Okay, let's move on to some staking news now. And the big staking news of the day is Diva staking. Other staking news, sorry. Diva staking here said that they are thrilled to announce the final version of the Diva operator testnet. That's live on Hashkey. So the beta release features many updates. Learn more on how to install using the docs.divastaking website. So here on they've got telemetry improvements, signups, SDK integration, validator creation, consensus algorithm. Additionally, just general like improved user interface stuff, and a whole lot more as well. So the beta live now. It means hopefully that mainnet launch is getting closer. And for those of you who don't know, Diva is liquid staking token and a service, kind of like a rival to Rocket Pool. Their unique selling point is that they have built in DVT, which is distributed validator technology, that's built into their protocol, and for that reason, they expect to have effective efficiency numbers like close to 100%. But we've been waiting for this to launch for quite a long time now, for many months, and it's not quite there yet. But I'm hoping that maybe they'll finish their audits, and with all the testing done, any bug reports come out, then hopefully we will be heading to it next 3 months, maybe 6 months, hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news now. We've got some huge Ethereum news today, and the big news of the day is Sonium, which is a new layer 2 that has been announced by Sony. Now, this is the Sony company that makes the PlayStation and all the other electronics that you have, like your camera that I'm using to record this episode, but also things like headphones and TVs and everything, the electronics giant. So Sony are saying that we're introducing Sonium by Sony Block Solutions Labs, building a public Ethereum layer 2 next generation blockchain ecosystem designed to invoke emotion and empower creativity. Sonium aims to connect Web3 with everyday internet services, making blockchain technology more accessible to users globally. Go mainstream with Sonium, and then GM with Sonium. So they've got like the little branding and stuff that comes with it, and then they've got information about their vision. So they want everyone as a creator on Sonium, no matter what you do or how you do it. So they dream of an open internet that transcends cultural differences and brings us together. And then they said, our values are emotion, creative, go mainstream, etc. And then they had the chairman of the Sony Block Solutions saying that we think the development of a comprehensive Web3 solution based on blockchain is significant to Sony Group, which has developed a wide variety of business under its proposed build a world with emotion, blah, blah, blah. And then there's other people from their team saying as well, so they want to go mainstream with Sonium. And this has definitely sparked a whole lot of attention in the Ethereum ecosystem. It's been the talk of the day, and there's a post here, sonium.org, if you are wanting to follow that along, which is a website that we launched with their announcement. And there's some details that people have been kind enough to gather here. Mark Odelian was one of the people who gathered up all the information they could find about how Sonium worked. And here, it's going to be a ZK rollup, which uses Aster ZK EVM that's developed by Aster Network. And Sony Block Solutions Lab will be handling the rest of the development. The rollup will use the OP stack and intends to join the superchain and hence become the OP chain. And then Aster's native token will have some role in the process, but we don't know what yet. And they'll be bound by the superchain standards and charters, so it definitely won't be used as a gas token. Also, the rollup will be using ZK fraud proofs for settlement. And there's other things here as well. The first application native to Sonium will be Sake Finance. We'll have to wait to find out more about what it's going to provide. And then Chainlink will also play some role in supporting application structure landscape for Sonium. On top of that, Mark says that they're quite curious about what exactly the Aster token will be used for on Sonium, and will Sonium Block Solutions Lab be developing this proof system required by the rollup. So yeah, this is actually really cool stuff. All the major ETH influencers got involved. So here, Anthony Cesano said Sony's building a layer 2 on Ethereum. That's probably something. DC Investor had a couple of interesting points here. He said Sony, the company which created the Walkman and owns a huge number of entertainment platforms and properties, plans to bring blockchain by its Ethereum layer 2 to the mainstream. Is the L2 vision starting to make sense or not? And then DC also said, I'm not sure what they'll do with this, but I expect many more companies and organizations will build on Ethereum via layer 2s in the coming years. The old enterprise Ethereum Alliance vision is actually being realized, and entities will build on and connect to public Ethereum. That's wild. And then Amin here had a take as well. He said, Sony's developing an Ethereum on-chain rollup called Sonium. The two key advantages of this approach is Sonium will be fully verified and stored on Ethereum mainnet, granting users high-fidelity access to the vast majority of the $145 billion DeFi market. As an on-chain rollup, it slashes transaction costs on Ethereum by 1,000x compared to raw Ethereum, ensuring scalable, secure transactions. This is a strategic move that positions Sonium within Ethereum's established infrastructure while leveraging the cutting-edge rollup transaction flow to efficiently utilize Ethereum's valuable on-chain resources and keep the fees low. And then we also have this take here from JC saying, I said in early July that Sony will launch an Ethereum layer 2, but people didn't believe me. It was obvious they would follow the Coinbase playbook. Ethereum is the new financial system. So that's really interesting as well. And finally, we've got this from Adriano saying, who would have guessed that the first normie corporation to run an L2 on Ethereum would be Sony? Who's next? Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Robinhood? Question mark. And then finally, we've got Sigar here, who said, one of the most underrated aspects of building on chain is the reusability of protocols and code. We often ask the question, why does this need to be on chain? This isn't directly related to the Sony stuff, but I think this kind of answers the question of why they're doing this, right? And the answer might be because it's faster, easier to build on chain. Simple example could be a game that wants to set up a marketplace for its in-game items. They could simply represent each item as an NFT and use CPOR out of the box. No need to write custom marketplace code. No need to deploy on and maintain their own servers for this. Everything just works out of the box. These open source chain protocols are basically Lego blocks that anyone can leverage. As an increasing number of permissionless protocols are deployed on chain, we'll start to really see the compounding benefits of composability and code reusability. Seaport, Uniswap, Aave, and others are just the start of our transition to an on-chain world. Now, Sega wrote this like in maybe a little bit after the Sony announcement came out, but I really think that it applies to it so strongly right now. Sony here are, like I said, the first normie corporation to do this. People have been watching basically print money since the Dencun hard fork. They're making up to millions of dollars a day in getting those, execution fees, and they're keeping it for themselves, right? And now what's happening here is others saying that, hey, we've got these huge built-in audiences. Coinbase, might have 50 million users. PlayStation's got, sorry, not PlayStation, but just PlayStation alone has got many, many more users than Coinbase has. But when you look at the whole of the Sony ecosystem, they've got, the IP is astonishing. They've got movies, they've got music, they've got all these different things that they're going to be potentially bringing on chain. Their licensing agreements are phenomenal. So if they're going to bring that on chain, they've got a built-in audience. They can pick up the software off the shelf. There's no need for them to program their own stuff. They're using OP chain. I'm sure that Optimistic Labs have helped them with this process, giving them the white glove treatment, and others will get this too, right? The main thing is, like we were talking about in yesterday's episode, is as long as you have that built-in audience who can come to your chain, then your L2 will potentially thrive. And it's all on Ethereum. And we were talking about it earlier this week as well, where the OP superchain is getting closer and closer to being reality now. So if you are a PlayStation user, for example, every game can have similar NFT dynamics built into it, because you can just use it across all the different studios, plugs into the same NFT marketplaces, and you can take those off the shelf. Like if you want people to be buying and swapping, tokens or whatever, you can get Uniswap, you can get Aave, you can get all these different systems deployed to your chain, and you can hit the ground running way faster than if you were going to set up your own chain, because you'd have to design it from scratch, which is just wasted development. B, you'd have to kind of get a token or something to make money. But Coinbase have shown you that you can be making millions of dollars a year, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars a year, without having a token even. So you can skirt some of those regulatory issues. You don't need to get involved in that. And what you have at the end of the day is more users coming online, more users getting on chain, more users using Ethereum. Now, this is I think the path forward here, potentially for the L2 narrative, and it's been getting criticized so much in these last few weeks, with people saying that L2s are parasitic. But now we're seeing this very real use case for L2s, with the reality being that you'd have dozens of these L2s spun up within these ecosystems, like the OP superchain or the Arbitrum version of that, or the ZK Sync version of that. They'll pick them, they'll go towards these, they'll bring their users with them, and they'll be transacting on chain, and that is going to be really, really exciting to see. I think that this is a huge supporting factor for the L2 thesis and the L2 roadmap. And I think what's really great here is that this wouldn't be possible on a monolithic chain in the same way. What you would end up getting is Sony launching an alt layer 1, which I think, when they made the announcement a year ago that Sony was getting involved in blockchain stuff, people probably thought they'd make their own NFT marketplace. Maybe people might have thought they'd make their own L1, but it just makes sense for them to make Ethereum L2. And I think it's going to be hugely successful. And I think a lot of other people are going to notice that this is happening and getting involved in it very, very soon. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's these huge companies out there, and they're desperate to get on chain because they want their users to go on chain so they can make money from them, right? They're not doing it altruistically, but for the average user, this will be really cheap interactions. Like Coinbase are giving free transactions, right? It might be that, hey, look, if you buy this game, you're going to get a certain amount of credit to use the Sonium, or use Sonium. Or if you buy a ticket for this movie, you'd get credit to use on Sonium. For example, they can really start doing these kind of things. So for each individual user, they're not going to see the the impact of working on chain, because the fees are so cheap and it's so fast, what's going to end up happening is we'll be getting those millions of users, right? Like this is one of the really great ways of getting to 1 billion users, because 1 billion people play games, 1 billion people watch movies, 1 billion people listen to music. And if you can get those 1 billion people onto layer twos that represent those different groups and industries and media and all of this stuff, this is going to be huge. So I think there's a reason why all the ETH influencers were extremely happy today. I think there's a reason why everyone in the ETH community has been like raving about this all day, because they're vindicated, right? Like the Ethereum scaling roadmap, this was a huge step towards proving that right. And I think in the coming days and weeks and months, we're going to see more and more of these announcements with companies and organizations, institutions, maybe even eventually nation states making their own L2s on public Ethereum. And like, I'm here for it. I'm really here for it. So I'll let you all know how that goes. Okay, here we got a report coming out that Christine Kim promoted today. I guess out of Galaxy, came out of Galaxy. So she said a new report alert. Zach dives into the impact of EIP 4844, which is the blobs, and 150 days after the Dencun upgrade, how has blobs impacted the protocol revenues and rollup fees? A few key takeaways from the report. So what Christine, there's the Galaxy Digital report, and she pulled out some data. So she said there've been 2,225,000 blobs purchased at an average cost of $1.59 per blob, and 1,100,000 blob carrying layer one transactions, an average cost of $5.22. Transactions in 100-day 50 period following the implementation of IP 4844. She said rollups have purchased approximately 285 gigabytes of blob data in total. Only used about 76% of their capacity. They're not still quite at capacity yet, but getting closer. Blob margins at absolute terms have improved after Dencun, despite fee revenues dropping 40% from pre-Dencun daily values. Rollups are earning more bottom line income than they were before Dencun. And here she says activity on the leading L2s picked up immediately post Dencun. However, the rise in transaction counts has been met with rising failure rates. The majority of failed transactions stem from high activity addresses, likely bots. Low fees on L2s could be driving increased bot activity. And then this is interesting here that we're going to talk about a little bit more. But Christine says Ethereum is seeing significantly less revenue generated by an ETH supply burned post Dencun. Total revenue earned is 69% lower than the average 150-day rolling sum before the upgrade. ETH burn is 84% below that of the average 150-day rolling sum before the upgrade. And then they said for more insights, go here. But the thing that I really want to talk about was this post from Hasu, who's with Flashbots and a researcher in Ethereum. He says many look at charts like this and they erroneously conclude that expanding data availability capacity was a mistake for Ethereum, but Ethereum exists in a competitive environment with other data availability layers offering even cheaper fees. This is more of a symptom of DA commoditization than anything else. So the idea is here that, hey, look, Ethereum is getting less revenue now because of the blobs are data availability and it's not paying as much Ethereum. But the reality of the situation is that if Dencun hadn't happened and the L2s were still paying hundreds of times more than they currently are in fees, then they wouldn't have had the uptake essentially that we've had and that we've seen in the last 5 months with Sonium and with potentially other layer 2s coming from BlackRock, like we've talked about, Rocket Fuel and others. I think the market's going to reach the point where Ethereum based layers going to become profitable again, and eventually this is a path, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of transactions per second getting settled on blobs and then paying fees to Ethereum. So I think that the DA aspect of revenue generation wasn't sustainable. Like it would have driven people to other chains. But now that we have an in-house data availability solution with blobs, it means that Ethereum can start growing the number of users and trying to make up for it that way. So There's a lot going on here. It's an interesting discussion that people are still kind of going back and forth on, but I'll let you all like follow that along as well as we cover more of it in the future. Okay, so talking about layer 2s today, here OP announced OP Succinct, and this is actually really interesting because it actually validates one of Anthony Sassano's theses about fraud proofs. So here they say that after a fun collaboration with Succinct Labs and OP Labs, I'm excited to share OP Succinct, a minimal diff upgrade to an OP stack chain for a full ZK rollup. Come inside and have a look. So what's actually going on here is it's changing the validation system under the hood and adopting ZK into optimistic fraud proofs. So here, this is, I think, like first steps towards that happening, but I don't fully understand the technical details of it. But here they're saying that the OP stack chains, like most rollups, work by posting compressed transaction data to layer 1 as blobs. Independent nodes read this data and derive the state. As frequency, a hash representing the state of the L2 posted to L1, allowing users to prove withdrawals and claim their L1 funds. In OP's current system, the hash is verified to be honest through a fault dispute system. The ZK5 things will replace the game with a single requirement. Anyone can post the next state, but they need to apply ZK proof of its validity. So that's what they're doing, and then there's more information in the tweet thread. You can definitely go and give that a read. But here we've got Liam saying, isn't it wild that a developer can ship the ZK rollup design on top of Optimism's OP stack permissionlessly? Benefits of 100% MIT licensed open source code, minimal diff, modular architecture, simple design, wide adoption amongst the best developers. So this is actually some really cool stuff, and I'll let you all know when it starts getting adopted more on the actual chains themselves, which I'm sure won't take too long. Okay, next we're going to be talking about Code for Arena, and this is an audit competition, kind of crowdsourcing audits for programs. And here Zellic have announced that they are acquired Code for Arena, and that this is the gold standard for competitive audits. They're thrilled to join forces with them, and they think that it'll help them do better audits for their clients. So you can read about how it works, but basically, like you put out an audit, your protocol, and people around the world can poke holes at it and try to claim bounties, claim rewards on any bugs that they find. So Zellic here now acquiring Code for Arena. They're saying that it's not going to impact how Code for Arena works. It's going to keep working the way it does, but Zellic are going to be incorporating the Code for Arena into their audit. And here Lawrence says that that he's been a huge fan of Code for Arena for years, and nothing is going to change, and they remain to go to when it comes to competitive security reviews. This is exciting to see what this opens up for them. Zellic are no joke. It's awesome to have them offering paired services together. And then here, Jack, who is from a rival competitive auditor space called Sherlock, has said that it seems like there's a Code for Arena kind of got a bit too big too fast, and they might have spent too much of their money, and they needed to get acquired to basically keep going. But the reason why I'm mentioning this whole drama is because in the Rocket Pool community, Rocket Lend was looking to perform its audit using a competitive auditing system, and we looked at Code for Arena and Sherlock, and I think that the Rocket Pool community is actually going to end up going with Sherlock. But it's interesting that there's this development thing that was interesting for the Rocket Pool community, if not anyone else. And finally, we're going to end up with some other news, and this might be some bullish, hopeful news for crypto enthusiasts out there. This is Milk Road doing some analysis on the Dixie, which is the DXY, which is the dollar strength, and also looking at into global M2 as the money supply and seeing what's happening. So as you can see, there's like this wedge on the chart of the Dixie, and it looks like it's breaking down below the wedge, which is bearish for Dixie, but the Dixie is loosely inversely correlated with crypto. So as the Dixie goes down, crypto tends to go up, and then the global money supply is M2, and that is actually breaking above a resistance line, and it looks like there's more money printing happening on the global scale now than there was over the last couple of years. And we might be entering a new period of monetary and fiscal stimulation. And of course, that strongly correlates with crypto prices going up as well. So it looks like on the macro front, there might be some things happening that make it favorable for crypto. Now, what's really funny is that the 4-year cycles seem intact. Like people were saying that, Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high so early in its cycle from the previous low means that the 4-year cycles are broken. However, Bitcoin's kind of stagnating price action, like it entered a range between $50,000 and $70,000, and being in that range has meant that the cycles are kind of in line with where they were before, and it looks like with these macroeconomics factors changing, with interest rates potentially starting to be cut next month, that'll probably be cut for the next year or so, getting down to kind of 3% range, potentially. That along with quantitative easing, money printing, all those things altogether will definitely be a boost for crypto prices. So we could be hitting all-time highs. Not just hitting all-time highs, hitting new all-time highs potentially at the end of this year, the beginning of next year, but then going on a parabolic rise potentially into 2025. So get your bags packed, get your bags ready. Not financial advice, of course, but that's what I'm doing. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. Again, it was another packed full episode of amazing information, and I hope you all enjoyed that. And I hope you all have lovely weekends ahead, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.